welcome. I'm Ms. Ava Collopy, and today I'm going to give you tips for an effective presentation at your school and work. So let's begin. Before the presentation even begins, you want to research your subject and really know it inside and out, partly so if somebody has a question, you can answer it, and so that you know that what you're talking about really is relevant and it's up to date. You don't want to be caught off guard like that, and you want to make sure that you're not wasting people's time or they won't enjoy your presentation, and you don't want to leave them with a bad impression of the work that you do. Research your subject really well and condense and edit things. It's like I always say about being a writer. To be a great writer, you need to be an even better editor, and it's very true. You want to know your strengths and really know what you're good at and focus on that. For example, I know a guy named Felipe Lodry, and his presentations in public are almost always going to be about LinkedIn. He knows everything about it and how to use it to promote your career. So number one, he absolutely knows his strength, and number two, he actually always makes it about the audience because he will explain to you how you can use LinkedIn to promote yourself and your interests and your career. So he's always making it very relevant for his audience and very engaging for them, and is helping them to better present themselves on this work social media site so that his audience can have the best career possible, the best opportunities possible. Less is more. You want a minimum of slides, you want a minimum of lines on the slides. Edit it down. People can only take in so much information at one time, and if you're just standing there reading away, everyone is going to be bored, nobody's going to remember what you said, and you won't be making that eye contact with your audience and engaging with them, because it's not really about you, it should be more about them, or your audience is not going to be interested. Even if you're giving a lecture on a subject, how is it relevant to them? What do they need to know about the subject you're lecturing on? This is one of the things I always thought about last year when I was teaching a US history course. What do the students really need to know about? What might come up later in their lives and different careers they're going to have? How can I make it relevant to them even if I'm having to give a lecture? And again, people can only take in so much information, so you want to keep these things to a minimum. Besides that, the presentation is not really this. You are the presentation. You and your team are the presentation. And if the technology fails on you, which happened to me once when I was giving a presentation in college, we didn't miss a beat, my team and I, we just kept going. I had some notes to jump off from. One of my teammates has some 3x5 cards. The other one was amazing and had her whole part memorized. So it actually worked to our advantage into our grade. The computer froze up. Our PowerPoint failed us, we just kept presenting, and the professor was very happy with that. You're the presentation, your information, do not rely on the technology. You should have all the information you need up here to give that presentation. Keep it simple. Choose a font style for your lettering that is large enough and easy enough to read, and you want that good contrast like black on white. Not everyone has 20/20 vision. You don't know what the eyesight is of the audience that you're looking at. Even if they have glasses, you don't know if they've had the money lately to get the proper prescription. Maybe they need a new one, they haven't gotten it yet. Make sure your audience can see things easily. Keep embellishments to a minimum. For example, if I wanted embellishments here, a frame would be better. Like this is all the way up here and it's not interfering with anyone's ability to read this. Make sure people are going to be able to see it. Not everyone has great eyesight. Images. Make sure your images are relevant to what you're presenting about. These images are lovely. They represent my two home countries. It has nothing to do with what I'm presenting about though, so they shouldn't be here, should they? That's irrelevant. Keep everything you're doing in your presentation relevant to what you're doing. Don't be wasting people's time with extra stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Animations and transitions. Okay, unless your whole point is that you can use higher functions on PowerPoint or Prezi or what have you, you really shouldn't be using big animations, because really, unless you're showing the skills you can use with those technologies, who cares? Nobody cares. Do you care if I can throw in animations? No, of course not. That's not what this presentation is about. So again, keep those embellishments to a minimum and don't go jumping in going, I just took this course and now I learned how to do all these animations in PowerPoint. That's nice. What does it have to do with what you're presenting on? This is not the presentation. This is the presentation. You are your presentation. Color is another important thing to think about. About 10% of men have some degree of red-green color blindness and about 1% of women. So this is an example of something that for some people is almost hard for them, it's almost painful for them to look at. It's hard to read and it almost hurts their eyes to look at it if they've got the severe side of the red-green color blindness. Again, make sure people can read it. The contrast isn't going to be an issue. Color blindness, eyesight, make sure that you think about this. Have that empathy to think about your audience and how they see things. If you have great eyesight, excellent, good for you, that's wonderful. May not be your audience though. There's a good chance a lot of them will not have good eyesight. Timing. Practice your presentation. You don't want to seem like you're rushing and talking really fast and just trying to get through it because you're nervous. But you also don't want to take ages to get through it. Find that pace, find your rhythm for presenting, see what works for you, and it could be based on the audience you're presenting to. For example, I will give some presentations in a much slower way if I am speaking to low-level English language learners. I will also with them make sure to talk more like this, where I am trying to separate each word so that they can hear each one. I used to work with some native Spanish speakers and they knew a little English and I was trying to learn a little Spanish. They were trying to learn English, and both sides of this equation learned to enunciate each word separately. What little bit of Spanish I did know, I could not understand if they spoke in the normal way that a Spanish speaker will speak, because all I'd hear is a wall of noise, and vice versa. So if I just spoke like this, like a normal English speaker to another normal English speaker, they could not tell what I was saying. So keep that in mind with your timing. Get into your rhythm, get into your pace, but also be mindful of your particular audience and what their needs are. Practice, practice, practice. Practice in a room by yourself, practice in front of a couple of friends. Get that practice going so that it's normal to you, it's organic. And like with teaching, if you do a lot of presenting, you're going to have those times when the technology fails you, everything you plan goes wrong, and you have to learn to keep that rapport with your audience or your class so that it ends up not being a problem anyway. One way you can get more practice too, at least in the US, there's a group called Toastmasters. You can go practice with them. If there's no local group in your area, try founding your own with other people who do not enjoy being in front of an audience and practice with each other. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you and you have a great day.